It's still morning. Good morning, everyone. Very honored to be here with a very distinguished delegation from the Congress of the United States. This is only part of the representation of our country that has been in Europe in the past several days. We began our visit in Munich, where around 10% of the Congress was present, Democrats and Republicans, members of the House, members of the Senate, all of them here reaffirming our commitment to the transatlantic alliance, our commitment to NATO, our respect for the European Union, and our ability and desire for us all to work together to strengthen the alliance and all of our institutions connected there. In Munich, we had the opportunity to meet with the NATO Supreme Allied Commander, with German and Canadian foreign officials, with the President of Afghanistan, because that, of course, is a NATO connection for all of us, and had important meetings here in Belgium with the Secretary General of NATO, the Prime Minister of Belgium, the President of the European Union, High Representative Mogherini, and we've had opportunities to share our views, ask our questions, and make some observations, which you're going to hear from. I'll just close by saying, now that we're all gathered, that when President Truman signed the NATO agreement 70 years ago, he spoke of and I quote, long step toward permanent peace in the whole world. That was quite an ambitious undertaking, and 70 years later, we celebrate it and we support it as we go into the future for peace in the whole world. With that, I'm pleased to yield to the distinguished, well, he'll introduce himself. We're going to be as brisk as possible so we can get to your questions. Mr. Engel.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Elliot Engel. I'm chairman of the House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee in Washington. I'm a representative from New York. We are all here speaking with one voice, led by our speaker, to say that the alliance, the Atlantic Alliance, is strong and long and doing well, and we all feel very, very strongly about it. And, you know, in a family, there are ups and downs and disagreements and whatever, but we are of the same family. We share the same worldview, we share the same views, and we have, as our speaker has pointed out, a very large percentage of the American Congress, first in Germany for the Munich conference and here now in Belgium, because we think that things sometimes are bumpy, but they straighten out, and we want it to straighten out. We want to really work together, and it's really so important, and we can only do it together. So I just want to tell you that we're of different parties here. We all feel the same way. We know that the future of America and Europe is intertwined, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that future is a bright one indeed. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Adam Schiff. I'm a member of Congress from California and chair of the House Intelligence Committee. We came to Europe in great numbers, probably the biggest numbers that have come to the Munich conference or come to NATO, to show our bipartisan support for NATO, our resolute commitment to NATO, but also our commitment to Europe and the European Union. Whatever differences we have are transient. Our shared interests and our shared values are indelible and longstanding and as strong as ever. We came to talk about our commitment to democracy, our commitment to human rights, the necessity that we stand together in the face of the threat posed by Russia and others. And I think we had some very important and meaningful discussions, but at the end of the day, our most important purpose in being here on a bipartisan basis is to voice our unequivocal support for NATO and for Europe and for this enduring partnership that is so important to the future of liberal democracy. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Congressman Gregory Meeks from New York. I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I'm the co-chair of the EU Caucus. And again, I reiterate that the strongest alliance that we have is with our cross-Atlantic partners, the EU and NATO. And we wanted to make sure that we were here to demonstrate that commitment that the members of the United States Congress will never, ever allow small differences to cause a divide between us. That ocean doesn't divide us. That ocean is actually going to unite us. We're building a bridge across the Atlantic Ocean so that the world can see that we share the same values, we are together, we may have a squabble, but those squabbles will dissolve, and we will stand together to lead the world with our values.
Hello, my name's Steve Lynch. I'm the chairman of the National Security Subcommittee on Oversight. And I'm a son of Ireland and a son of Germany. And I come from a nation of immigrants, and many of those European immigrants. The bond between the United States and Europe is unbreakable. And our presence here, hopefully, is a demonstration of our commitment to that relationship. I want to really thank Speaker Pelosi for her commitment to the alliances between our country and the nations of the EU and of NATO. The basic freedoms that we all enjoy are threatened by Russia, by interference with our democratically conducted elections, and it's important that we are stronger now than ever. But and we also want to thank the way we were embraced in Munich and the way we were embraced here in Brussels during our visit. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jackie Spear. I'm from California. And I think the simple message we want to leave as we depart is that we are family. We are family and will continue to be family. We may have sibling rivalries from time to time, but we are joined together with blood. And on this trip in particular, what has crystallized for me is the importance for all of us to listen to our family members, to remain united, and to go forward realizing we are so much stronger together than apart.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Connolly. I'm Congressman from Virginia, and I head the U.S. delegation here to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. It's a great privilege to stand here with my colleagues and especially with Speaker Pelosi. It is a powerful statement that the third highest official in the United States government, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, has chosen to come to Europe at this time, both to the Munich Security Conference and here to the Parliamentary Assembly in Brussels. I think it speaks for itself what that commitment represents. It is a firm, full-throated, unequivocal reaffirmation of the United States' commitment to collective security, but more importantly to the reassertion of Western liberal values. And we want to thank Vladimir Putin for bringing us all together to reaffirm those values. If there's any doubt in our adversaries' minds about our collective will to fight for those values, I hope today clears that up. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for having us here today.
I'm Bill Keating from Massachusetts. Good afternoon. I'd like to tell you that this week these few days have been special. I come from grandparents who are from Europe. I'm very proud of that. I have an uncle who lost his life and was killed on French soil defending our countries. We face common enemies right now and challenges. We face challenges from terrorists, from Russia, from China, but we have something they don't. We have a coalition, and that's what makes us strong. That same coalition is necessary as well with other challenges we have: climate change, human rights, the threat of nuclear proliferation. All these things can't be done by one country alone, but together we'll be able to meet those challenges. And that's what these days are about, reaffirming that historic coalition. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Philemon Bell. I'm from Texas. I want to first thank Speaker Pelosi for inviting us to join her here in Europe this week. It is my belief that the future of world peace depends on the strengthening of the NATO alliance. As great of a threat that Russia might be, an even greater threat is a weakened NATO alliance. And on that note, I must say that we, as members of NATO, must speak as one against aggressions such as those against Russian citizens in London and against the murder of James Khashoggi in Turkey. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Katie Hill. I am one of the new representatives to Congress. I'm the freshman representative to leadership. My great-great-grandfather served here in World War I, my great-grandfather in World War II, my grandfather during the Cold War, the height of the Cold War, and my father right before the Berlin Wall. He left the Air Force right before the Berlin Wall fell. And here I am entering this new generation where we have to affirm our alliances more than ever, where we are facing new threats, and together we must work to eliminate those and to fight them. And as part of this new Congress, as the future is dependent upon all of us, we are here, we're standing with you, and we look forward to working with you as we go forward. Thank you.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Rick Larson. Je suis de l'État de Washington et c'est tout mon français. So thank you for being here, and thank you to Speaker Pelosi for allowing me to say briefly. I'm a member of the House Armed Services Committee in the U.S. Congress, and I have been on that committee now for over 18 years. Throughout that time, the House Armed Services Committee, both Democrats and Republicans, have been consistently pro-NATO, and much has been made of the things that have been said in the United States about our support for NATO. I would only ask that you look at what Congress does. Budgets pass by the U.S. Congress that continue to show strong support for our commitment to NATO and our commitment to our NATO allies. And that is the basic message I'm delivering to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly friends that we have downstairs as well. So thank you very much.
Bom dia, amigos. I am a third-generation American of Portuguese descent, and I am honored to be a part of this tour de force with Speaker Pelosi. This bipartisan delegation is among the largest ever to come to the Munich conference. Over 10% of the Congress to Munich and to Brussels to reaffirm our strong support for NATO. Last month we passed a resolution 357 to 22 reinforcing that long-term commitment as we celebrate the 70th anniversary of NATO and the 30th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Make no mistake about it, the majority of Americans, and I should say probably Europeans, do not realize this is the longest peacetime period in Europe in over 1,000 years. Think about that. This last 70 years is the longest peacetime period in Europe in over 1,000 years. And NATO and the structures that we in the United States and Europe together with the European Union and the other efforts are the pillars, the glue of the maintenance of this strong relationship that is so crucial. As a member of the Transatlantic Legislators Dialogue, and thankfully, Madam Speaker, to chair the Transatlantic Legislators Dialogue, we have a host of organizations here that are part of our ongoing efforts to maintain the strong vitality of this partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my colleagues, for your comments, but also for your great leadership, the depth of experience and knowledge, legislatively and otherwise, that you bring to this meeting have made a very big difference and commanded great respect. When I first came to my first North Atlantic, was called North Atlantic Assemblies then, now it's North Atlantic Parliamentary Assembly, the Berlin Wall was still up. It was in the late 80s. The Berlin Wall was still up, and that was the big challenge, of course. Since then, over the years, other issues have emerged, other challenges have emerged. The war against terrorism, issues that relate to cybersecurity, just so many issues of money laundering, the rest, exploitations that would not have even been possible then because technology wasn't where it is. But in any event, all the more reason for us to have a reinforced relationship with our NATO allies and to support the mobility and infrastructure that the EU is injecting into that security. Now more than ever, we need NATO as we go forward because the challenges are more complicated than a bipolar relationship with the Soviet Union. It's now much more diverse, and therefore the friendships that we have much more important. My colleagues would be happy to take any questions you might have.
So delegation has to leave very quickly, but we'll take a question from Lauren Cook, Associated Press.
Yes.
Thank you, Pelosi. In some ways, your mission seems a little like damage limitation. Working here in Brussels, we very much have the sense that NATO allies no longer quite understand the messages that are coming out from the United States. Yesterday, a Belgian journalist, I believe, asked you whether Belgium is an ally of the United States.
Of course.
How do you go about repairing that damage and sending clear messages?
Well, I think our message is a very clear one. When 10% of the Congress comes to Europe for the Munich Security Conference, as well as continuing on here with even more additional members present. One of the parliamentarians just asked me as I was leaving, why did you only now just pass this resolution about NATO that has such strong bipartisan support? I said, well, because we just got the majority. And then we can control what goes on to manage what goes on to the floor. But once our Republican colleagues had the opportunity to vote on this H.R. 676 NATO Support Act, which Mr. Costa referenced, what was it, 357 to 22 no. I think that sends a very clear message. We're also we're not a parliamentary government, even though we're parliamentarians. We have Article 1, the legislative branch, the first branch of government, co-equal to the other branches, and we have asserted ourselves in that way.
All right, last question, Michael Burnbaum, Washington Post.
Where's Michael?
Michael Burnbaum, Washington Post. I just wanted to ask, in your meetings with your European colleagues just now, was there specific advice that you gave them about what they can do to interact with the United States and its branches of government now that Democrats control the House that they weren't able to do when there was full Republican control of Washington?
Well, I'm going to yield to my colleagues, but I don't think that there's any difference between Democrats and Republicans on our relationship with NATO. This is not partisan in any way. But let me defer to Jerry Connolly. Did he leave us? Oh, here he is. I looked there. Who is our chairman of our delegation to the...
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Look, Republicans as well as Democrats in this last 2-year period have been working diligently in these organizations as one. When it comes to affirming our support for the Western Alliance, expanding it, and deepening our commitment to those values and to that collective security, I don't think there's any doubt. As the Speaker said, I think this resolution, this is over. When do we ever get votes that overwhelming in the United States Congress? And this is on a foreign policy issue. And I think it absolutely is sending a message. And in terms of the question of, is this a reassurance tour, I think it's a reminder tour that the United States government is not just one branch. And that, as the Speaker said, Article 1, the first article in the Constitution of the United States, deals with the powers of the legislative branch, not the executive branch. And those powers include war and peace and even direction of the armed forces. So there's implied foreign policy. And the power of the purse, of course, always important, as the Speaker said. So I think we're here to reaffirm and remind our colleagues at a time where maybe some doubts have been planted to clear those doubts up.
The If I just may conclude by saying, when you asked, were we giving them any advice, that we came here to listen. And yesterday, when we started our meeting with the president of the EU, he said, I'm here to listen. I said, well, we're here to listen. This could be a very silent meeting. However, it wasn't. And it went on for an hour and a half of our learning from each other, and that's what this is about. It's about one word. It's about respect. It's about not only how we discuss our differences, but how we do so in a manner that recognizes the importance of all parties to the discussion. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Okay, thank you, John.